proceedings in Albany, New York, against the Empire State Attorney General Letitia James. But remember, this is important. A grand jury simply decides if there's enough evidence to indict. To be clear, we are told this is very early in the process, and no one, as I speak to you right now, is facing any charges at this time. Fox News reached out to Attorney General James's office multiple times, but we've yet to hear back. Dana?
I know you haven't heard back. You won't? For what? To give you that same spiel. Oh, he just coming after me because I took him to court. Well, they checking out why you took him to court. Because that's what you have to do. Now you have to prove why you took him to court. You have to prove that what was in your court papers were so egregious that you had to take the ex-president of the United States to court behind mortgage fraud. Now you're going to have to show that. Welcome to the TMYK show. I am Mike, your host, better known as Mo. Here's where you get the truth uncut, and we do call a spade a spade. So today we're going to be talking about Letitia James. You know, she took Donald Trump to court for lying on his mortgage paperwork, saying he inflated the value of Mar-a-Lago, which was a lie. And he himself did not appraise or inflate anything. He had appraisers to go out and check and verify the value of the property. And so should have the mortgage companies send out their own appraisers. And what's so ironic about it, the deal went through, everybody was paid, it was paid off, and the lenders found no ill will, found nothing illegal about what he did, but he was prosecuted anyway, which are being vastly appealed, and he has been winning his appeals. But now we find out that now it's boomerang, and we know her case, the case that they have brought against her, they've now brought a case against her, that she has been accused of mortgage fraud, which has been thrown out because of a technicality. And it has been thrown out for you all that may not understand. It has been thrown out with no prejudice. So without prejudice means that it can be brought back again. So I'm sure they're going to be working on that. But let's just see how we got here. And of course, we're going to get to how it is boomeranged on Letitia. I lie to James.
Letitia James completely abused her oath of office. Letitia James was actively and openly engaged in lawfare. You talk about weaponizing the Department of Justice. What was Letitia James's campaign slogan? It was prosecute Donald Trump. She was saying she was going to prosecute Donald Trump before she even knew if Donald Trump committed a crime, which of course we did not. Those are not the words of a serious prosecutor.
How do you do that? How do you run a campaign and your main premise of your campaign? And this is what's so funny about these politicians today with Donald J. Trump. Their campaign is not about what policies they're going to try to implement. Their campaigns are not about what are they going to do, in her case, to make sure the law is enforced. What are they going to do to make sure that they're being held accountable, being whoever, for whatever crimes they may commit? Remember, there's no one above the law, period. But their campaign seems to always run on. Today, we must defeat Donald Trump. We must resist Donald Trump. We must fight Donald J. Trump. Stop it, people. Whatever you're elected for, go and do your job. And your job is not to go and fight Donald J. Trump. It should be to work with the President of the United States. And anybody who thinks differently, they have a problem, a serious problem. And I think it's called TDS.
Those are the words of a corrupt politician who is abusing their power. She actively campaigned on that. She also led the witch hunt, the financial fraud investigation against President Trump and the Trump Organization, and an appeals court tossed that case out, a $500 million civil fraud penalty in August, which was another win for the president, and exonerated him of this witch hunt and showed that this is an individual who is corrupt and abused her oath of office. And we also have evidence of her mortgage fraud. An April report from a white-collar fraud investigator found that there was documented evidence that James engaged in a consistent pattern of financial and property disclosures that raise serious legal questions.
Now, there you go. You've heard that. That's where they went. And that's the case that I'm saying was thrown out. But let's see here. How did she truly campaign? What was the message in her campaigning? Let's see.
I do want to play some of the criticism from Trump himself has been particularly on comments made by the New York Attorney General Letitia James while she was running. Here are a few things she said then in 2018 about Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president. He should be charged with obstructing justice. I believe that the president...
Are you an illegitimate attorney general behind crimes that you have committed? How can you be over a judicial system as a criminal?
...of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
I will be shining a bright light into every dark corner of his real estate dealings. And every dealing.
And there's the old saying, don't throw rocks when you live in a glass house. So, Letitia James, be careful what you wish for.
Demanding truthfulness at every turn.
Would those comments have any legal basis for a dismissal here?
I don't know about a dismissal. I'm very, very troubled by them. I think they're completely unethical. I think it's, I actually have spoken with a fellow who's written a book on prosecutorial misconduct, and he's assured me he's going to include a chapter next time on the kinds of statements that are appropriate ethically and inappropriate ethically in the course of an election campaign for elected officials, for judges and prosecutors. I think they're very troubling comments. The government is held to a different standard. And the public generally believes that when they say something that it's accurate. We can't have people targeting particular citizens when they're running for office, especially when there's been no investigation and certainly no finding yet at that time of any culpability. I think they're very troubling. This is part of what I think is driving the polls, in addition to policy issues. I think that fundamentally American people demand fairness, and they don't want to see people targeted, even if they're, sort of larger than life figures like Donald Trump.
That's how Donald Trump won. People want to see the judicial system rightly charge people for crimes. And Black people have complained about it for years, how they have been ill-targeted for crimes set up. Cops have dropped things that they didn't have, planted drugs on them, these type of things. But we have to understand, we must get a law, a system that works for all of mankind, and it is not prejudice. It does not choose one over the other. It does not have preference. It is even keeled. Justice, that is why they wear a blindfold. The statue of the woman of justice, she is blinded, meaning, no, I go by the books. I go by what is written down, and I follow that. I use that as my criteria of making judgment and bringing charges. So we have to understand that. So we're going to let's get into what she's been charged with that was kicked out without prejudice, that it can come back again. Let's go and see that. Let's go and see just what Miss James have been charged with. All right, let's go here. Let's go. I'm going to do some reading right now. So here we are. It says New York Attorney General Letitia James accused of possible mortgage fraud. It says New York Attorney General Letitia James has been referred for federal criminal prosecution for alleged mortgage fraud related to a Virginia home and a New York property. William Pulte, director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, wrote a letter obtained by CBS News New York to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, alleging that James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. Pulte alleges James may have falsified her resident status at a home in Norfolk, Virginia, to get a better mortgage rate. According to Pulte, in 2023, James granted Shamise Thompson Hairston power of attorney to make the Norfolk property purchased in August of that year her principal residence, despite James actually living and serving as Attorney General in New York at the time. At the time of the 2023 Norfolk, Virginia property purchase and mortgage, Ms. James was the sitting Attorney General of New York and is required by law to have her primary residence in the state of New York, even though the mortgage application lists her intent to have the Norfolk, Virginia property as her primary home, Pulte wrote. So hold on. So you're not above the law? Is that not against the law? You did that in 23? And you put down on a legal document that your primary residence will be in Virginia. How can you be the Attorney General of New York? Whew. You drummed up some stuff on Trump, and this is all in black and white. All in black and white. Here's what it says here. It says, Pulte also alleges that James bought a 5-family property in Brooklyn in 2001 with a loan that is available for homes with 4 units or less. Spanning the last 2 decades, Ms. James has constantly misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in both building permit applications and numerous mortgage documents and applications, Pulte wrote. It appears that Ms. James may have listed the Brooklyn, New York property as 4 units instead of 5 in order to meet the conforming loan requirements and thus receive better interest rates. It is also alleged that James and her father signed mortgage documents in 1983 stating they were husband and wife, again, what? To get a better interest rate. Ms. James, for both properties listed above, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending criteria and receive favorable loan terms. Pulte concluded, adding that it could lead to charges such as wire fraud, mail fraud, and bank fraud, along with making false statements to a financial institution. So there we have it. Those are the charges that unfortunately was dismissed because of technicality. I'm very concerned about Pam Bondi and her team when they don't understand that when we go and we present a case like this, we have to have all of our ducks in a row. And to have had this case dismissed because you put somebody in there that was not above board when it comes to policy and how things should go. You should have known that before you did that. But it's not over. But it's not over. So now let's just see the latest investigation that's going on with Letitia I lied to James. This lady is, she is a piece of work.
Some breaking news sources are telling us that New York Attorney General Letitia James and her office are under investigation by the Department of Justice in relation to her case against President Trump. Justice correspondent David Spunt is in Washington. What do you know, David?
Well, hi, Dana. Two well-placed sources familiar with the probe tell Fox News that New York Attorney General Letitia James and her office is under investigation by the DOJ here in Washington. We're told that Attorney General Pam Bondi signed off on the probe. Subpoenas were sent to James's office, and there is a grand jury investigation underway in the New York State Capitol of Albany. The specific investigation, my colleague Jake Gibson, Ashley Oliver, and myself are being told involves deprivation of rights, which in plain language means someone in a position of legal authority violating someone else's constitutional or legal rights. Those sources tell Fox News the DOJ is going after James because she took then former President Donald Trump to court, quote, simply because she didn't like him and campaigned on getting him. DOJ, led by Bondi, believes she violated his First Amendment rights dealing with free speech. James has said before she believed Trump inflated his net worth to get good deals on loans from lenders and other financial benefits. Ms. James won in a court judgment of over $450 million against the Trump organization.
And you know, in this case that they're doing now, what I believe that's gonna come to the table. That is going to come to the table. That particular case, that situation, you're going to find out how they lied about how he inflated the value of Mar-a-Lago. The truth is going to come out. The truth will come out. I serve a God that says the truth will come to the light. And it's coming for Letitia James and others.
Trump is appealing, and it's pending. The entire scope of the grand jury probe in Albany, Dana, is unclear. Grand juries are secretive, but we've learned from these well-placed sources it stems from a recent strike force set up inside the Justice Department to investigate an alleged plot to tie Trump to Russia in 2016. Sources say that strike force has expanded to other topics. Now, to recap, the Justice Department has initiated grand jury proceedings in Albany, New York, against the Empire State Attorney General Letitia James. But remember, this is important. A grand jury simply decides if there's enough evidence to indict. To be clear, we are told this is very early in the process, and no one, as I speak to you right now, is facing any charges at this time. Fox News reached out to Attorney General James's office multiple times, but we've yet to hear back. Dana?
I know you haven't heard back. You won't? For what? To give you that same spiel. Oh, he's just coming after me because I took him to court. Well, they checking out why you took him to court. Because that's what you have to do. Now you have to prove why you took him to court. You have to prove that what was in your court papers were so egregious that you had to take the ex-president of the United States to court behind mortgage fraud. Now you're going to have to show that. You are going to have to show why you did that. And your lies will be exposed. And in that, I believe that grand jury will accept the charges for you and your mortgage fraud, and that case will proceed as well. So, Letitia James, Letitia, I lied to James. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. And not just yours, many others. So, hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I love you. And until next time, be good one to another and love on each other. Peace.